Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be about moving into 2026, moving into a new phase of your life and what needs to be released. Okay, this is a very specific message for you if you found this video, but it's going to be about, it might be a little heavy. It's going to be about things that are no longer serving you. So right away, I pulled the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Generational trauma, cycles of abuse. I feel like you've dealt with a lot of BS in your life, a lot of other people's problems, other people's trauma becoming your trauma through, them projecting through, I feel like, I also pulled the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords. I feel like you're someone who dealt with a toxic couple. Now, this is probably your parents. This is what I'm getting. Your parents or the couple that raised you. It could also be like a brother and a sister or like aunt and uncle. But you have dealt with both feminine and masculine people, energies that try to hold you back. That gave you thoughts of self-doubt, of fear, and I feel like they gave you so many fears and so many just hang-ups and neuroses. You could have mental health struggles that run in your family. I mean, a very strong OCD, agoraphobia, and general anxiety, social anxiety. And people have taught you to fear things, to fear the unknown, to fear maybe other people, right? To always expect things to go wrong, to be a pessimist for the sake of realism, right? This idea that oh, I'm not a pessimist, I'm just a realist. And it could have been people and they said oh, this is to protect you. This is to keep you safe. This is to make sure that you live, that you're safe, that you live a long life. But, whenever someone talks to you, they're really talking to themselves. So, Spirit wants you to know this was never about you. It was never that you weren't worthy. It was never that you were weak, that you needed protecting, that you were a victim, that you were weak and powerless. It was never, or it wasn't ever that the world was scary or that bad things always happened. It was never that. It was always about their own trauma, their own fears that maybe were ingrained in them when they were a kid, and that they have inherited from their parents as well, from their family, from the people around them. And that could be the case, but it's gotten to the point where they've now integrated it into themselves, where they've said, yes, this was your fear, but I am now making it my fear. And because they've integrated it in themselves, right, whenever they interact with people, it comes out. And it's like a virus. It tries to infect other people. And I feel like they tried to infect you. They tried to give you their fear, and make it your own. They said, you're being delusional. That's crazy. You're going to get hurt if you keep doing that, or keep thinking that way. You're going to end up homeless. You're going to end up addicted to drugs. You're going to, you're not ever going to get anywhere. You're not going to be successful. This is my way is the only way. It's my way or the highway. And, I feel like it wasn't about you. It was always about them, and that whole attitude works against karma. It works against the flow of the universe. It works against God. And it was impeding your fortune. When you expect trouble, when you expect things to go bad, when you see violence, when you see, prejudice and pessimism and lack, wherever you go, and you always see the bad that's going to happen, then that bad is going to happen because that's your frequency. You're frequencing you are living in a frequency of fear and of violence and stuff, and of course that's what's going to happen to you because that's what you're attracting. And so Spirit is saying we're flipping it. you were living, because of them, living contrary to the flow, like contrary to the blessings that want to come in, that is your divine inheritance. Like every single one of us is born into this world ready to be taken care of. The world is ready to take care of us. And we just need to accept it. We just need to move into the flow. And so we're saying, like, if you're experiencing roadblocks and things like that, it's because of this, like, inability to live in the Tao, like this fear. And you're entering, like, you're leaving this behind. And if this, you may need, maybe this is like confirmation or encouragement, like, their fears are not yours. Their thought patterns are not yours. Like, everyone is thinking from their own experience, right? I just had this conversation earlier. Yeah. Everyone is thinking of their own stuff. It's not your stuff. You can just decide to disagree. You can just decide to say, like, you can live, you know, with those ideas, those fears. You can live as a fear-based individual, but I'm not. I'm a faith-based individual. I'm a love-based individual. I'm a trust-based person. I make decisions out of trust. There's this quote in The Office. Robert California is like, it's on the Halloween episode, and he's like, what a curious role fear plays in all of our lives. How dare we let it run our lives? How dare we make decisions based on it? And he like tells this really scary story in The Office that incorporates every person's fears. And then he tells it, and in the end, he's like, cracks a joke, and it's like really funny. Basically, like, but he made them all confront their fears, and then they made like positive changes. They realized, like, oh, I can't be living out of fear. I have to, you know, live for love, live for now. And so Spirit is saying, like, yes, choose to live out of love and you will be rewarded. I feel like the Spirit is saying, reflect. Reflect on the thoughts that are in your head. Reflect on, like, what are you making manifest in your life? What thoughts are you letting become actions, become like physical manifestations in your life? You know, like, what actions are you taking based on those thoughts? And are those good actions? Like, don't be afraid, like, to rest and take a moment to really reflect on what you're pursuing. And I'm really drawn to like how he's cut one of these off. And so they're saying, like, also very much so drawn with the fact that this is like a bush, and I'm getting like generational family. This may be kind of heavy, but don't be afraid to like cut someone off, a family member, a friend that feels like a family member, and cut them off for a little bit. And it's not like, this could take a lot of different forms, right? It doesn't mean no contact. It could mean no contact. I mean, you know your situation best. Go with your gut. It could also just be an action of boundaries, limiting how much you talk to this person. Because I feel like, or just like limiting this energy in your life. There is something that is like, needs to be cut off. And you're recognizing it. And you're like, if you're not already, you're taking steps to cut them off. And you know, it's like, you know, you grow your own garden. Why would you want the fruit of a plant that is rooted in fear, that is rooted in the perception of violence, of danger, of pessimism? You know, when you plant your garden, the garden of your life, why would you want to tend a plant that has a diet of fear, a diet of anxiety, of depression, of substances, of pessimism, of anger? Like, no, you want plants that thrive on love, on joy, on passion, on hard work that doesn't feel like hard work, you know, that hard work that you enjoy, on, you know, singing and dancing and like things like that. So look at the garden that you're doing right now, that you're attending, and make sure that you are growing plants that thrive on love, that thrive on like faith and trust that you are sovereign, that you are free and capable and strong. Like, what decisions are you making out of fear? I feel like that's really the thoughts. What decisions, what actions are you pursuing on the physical plane that are based in the idea that things are not going to work out. Because then that's only going to give you fruits of things not working out. Yeah. I feel like there's an imbalance that you're writing. Spiritual healing, you're healing this. You're healing this. Yeah. Woo! Woo! We got temperance and judgment in reverse. You're healing this. And if you're not already healing it, this is opportunity too. Yeah. Temperance is all about, like, it's also the card of Sagittarius and freedom, but it's also the card of like balance and healing. And I feel like Spirit is saying these plants that you've been watering, that you've been feeding, that also, like, you may not have planned it. This could very much be inherited. I'm getting this vision of like an inherited property, and your parents have grown, or like they've been growing these huge plants. Like they're huge, like just huge plants of that like they inherited from the parents, and are like, oh, these plants have been in the family for generations upon generations, and you better water them. And you're like, they're fucking ugly. I hate these plants. They're dark and they're ugly and they have a horrible vibe and I don't like them. They're like, well, they've been in the family. You better do it. And you're like, no. I'm going to let those plants die, actually. I'm going to let the fear and the sickness and the trauma, I'm going to let that shit die. And I'm going to start filling my own cup. And I'm going to let the energy that I was using to tend these plants of hate and fear, I'm going to start putting it towards better things. I'm going to start choosing things that actually fulfill me, that actually make me feel good, that make me feel supported. We've got two angels here. I just realized. Two angels, Gabriel and Michael. I feel like this is a very big invitation to work with Gabriel and Michael. If you don't, Michael is like the warrior, but he's also the healer. Gabriel brings messages from God. And I think this is saying, like, if you don't know exactly what this is, ask Gabriel to bring it to you. Ask Gabriel to like give you messages from God, from the universe. Allow Michael to heal your soul. I love Michael. Michael also is like very much of protection, of giving you strength. I call on Michael a lot when like I need some kind of protection from thoughts that are creeping in, from maybe even outside energies. If I feel people tugging on my energy, I'm like, Michael, come and use your sword and cut that shit out. And so you're very, very connected. You're very connected. You're very protected. That is a huge, huge message coming through. You were always meant to break these cycles. Wow, I'm kind of getting teary. I don't know what is going on with the energy today. Very sensitive, but you were always different. You're just built different. Like you were never meant to live in this cage that you inherited. You were never meant to just keep trudging the same path in that garden. You were never meant to be limited to this like estate, this prison, really. Like that's what it was, this prison that you inherited from your family, from society, from whatever environment you grew up in. You were never meant for this small cage. You were always meant to break free, to be like, no, to say, no, actually, I'm in charge of my life. I'm the freaking main character. I'm moving on. And you, like, it may be hard. It may be difficult because it is like, it's been ingrained. Like it's been the path that everyone else is taking. You know, it's very much like, come on, where are you going? Like they're all going on the path. They're like, where are you going? Why are you going off over there? And you're like, well, I just feel like this is the better path. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And it may be tough to watch everyone else go the other way, but you know, it's better. And shit, once you start walking that path, I'm getting this image of like you are like, bye, like your family's out on the estate and they're like, what the hell? Where are you going? And you're like, I'm leaving, bye. I'm gonna go walk in the forest. I'm gonna go see what plants are in the forest, and I'm gonna maybe pick some, and I'm gonna make my own garden over there, and I'm gonna build, and I'm gonna grow my plants. And the minute that you walk out, the minute that you decide, I'm done with that, I'm done with all that inherited BS, I'm living my life for me, for love, for freedom, the blessings are gonna come in like crazy. It's gonna happen like that. And Spirit is helping you. Spirit is saying, like, this is like, you know, coming down to earth. I feel like they were just waiting for you. Like, God has just been waiting for you to walk out those gates. And then it's going to be like, start flying from the sky and playing like Animal Crossing, like gifts on a balloon, like floating down. You're going to be like, oh shit, there's one. Got it. Whoa. I've always wanted this. I've always wanted love. I've always wanted a real family. I've always wanted fulfillment and community. Shit. It's going to happen fast. And I feel like your divine blessings, like you've always been so divinely blessed, and like they were trying to withhold it from you. Like your family or your trauma, your past. It was holding it back. And now that you're choosing to walk away, choosing to like trust in your path, that they're going to come in really, really fast. Yeah. It's just, you know, sort of saying like, this is the time to reflect, meditate, take out your journal and just start free writing. Write down all the things you love about your life right now, and then list all the things you don't like. And then decide that you're just going to leave those things behind. You're going to leave, these are the things that I want Spirit to take away from me. I love this exercise. I write down my problem, and then I'm like, okay, God, I'm giving it to you. I'm not dealing with it. Not my monkey, not my circus. God, deal with this for me. And so they're saying, yeah, do it, because God is dealing with your BS, because it's not your BS. God is healing it. Spirit is healing it right now. You are in a vortex. You are in a bubble of healing right now. And I feel like your energy is really potent. The healing energy right now is super potent. And it's going to happen like way faster than maybe other times of the year or at other points in your life. Like, and it's because you are completely moving on. And so they're saying like, drop it. Like, choose to drop these things that don't feel good, that don't set your heart on fire, that make you feel small, make you feel anxious, make you feel like, ugh. No, don't make you feel good, that don't set your soul on fire, that make you like worried and I don't know, and make you second guess yourself. And they're saying, no, get rid of that shit. Figure it out, write it down, write all the things you don't want. Like, I don't like that I don't like my body. I don't like that I'm insecure when I talk. I don't like that I'm anxious meeting new people. And God, and like, let God like get rid of that for you. And then listen when he brings you messages about it. You know, go the healing routes when they are presented to you, and your blessings will be coming in. Changes. These things will start changing like that. They'll start changing so freaking fast. And it's all because you've just decided, you've aligned yourself with a better path. And I feel like that's the huge message. Like, I feel like maybe you're like, there's so many things I need to heal. Like, there's so many, I've got so many issues. I've got so many issues. Like, shit. How am I supposed to deal with this? And Spirit is saying like, God, well, we can do it. We'll heal it all in one go. It's actually really easy to heal. It happens instantaneously, actually. Just give it up. Yeah, rescue. Just pulled this card. Rescuing these parts of yourself that you suppressed, that you denied. Maybe ever since a little kid. I'm giving very much like I Saw the TV Glow, if you've seen that movie. The parts of yourself that you've always been ashamed of, that your parents, your family taught you to be ashamed of, said, no, you need to hide that. To be acceptable for society, to be acceptable to me, to earn love. You know, I feel like love was always, it was never unconditional. It was always conditional. You always had to change something about yourself. You always had to give more than you wanted to give more than you were comfortable with until your cup was completely empty. Yeah, shit. Okay, this is gonna get heavy. I just pulled deprivation. Yeah, I feel like you had to fight for your love. You felt like you couldn't be loved unless you were perfect, unless you kept yourself in line, unless you people pleased, did what other people asked you, acted the way that they wanted you to act, even though it felt bad, it felt disingenuous, taming yourself down, saying things that you didn't mean, that you didn't believe, doing things that you didn't want to do. And it's all been in this act of love, because you wanted love, because you wanted to feel safe, you wanted family, you wanted a soul tribe, you wanted someone to look at you and love you. And I feel like all of the love that you've gotten has always been one of conditions, has always been like, I'm getting like a drop, or like just drops, like breadcrumbing. You've always dealt with people breadcrumbing you. And the minute that you showed your true self, that went against what they wanted, that went against their perception of you, whatever that you is that they were comfortable with, whenever you actually let your soul shine and did something that was contrary to them, they pulled back and they said no. And Spirit is saying like, that cycle is ending. And you are getting this love within yourself. And it starts with self-love. Like, you are entering this new period of time where you are learning that you don't need to look outside for love. That all the love that you wanted, that you weren't given by your parents or by your family, by your friends, you can give that love to yourself. And you can get that love from God. And they're the same thing, right? Entering this new period of time where you receive love directly from the Divine Father, directly from the Divine Mother. You know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you've had to deal with this. But know that, like, they could have never loved you the way that you needed to be loved, that you wanted to. They never could have. And nothing you could have done that would have made them love you. Because that's the only way they know. They only know how to love with rules and with regulations and with withholding and like icky mind games and like transactional relationships. And you're stepping into this period where you love yourself and you're attracting people who will really love you unconditionally because they love themselves. Yeah. Well, we have retrieval and rescue. Yeah, 52 and 53. Yeah. I feel like they like convinced you out of yourself. They convinced you that you needed to always people please, that you always needed to put the other person first ahead of your own needs, right? To get love. And that's how you earn love. That's how I made myself lovable, was by giving of myself to other people and denying the parts that people didn't like, right? That maybe ruffled people's feathers, that made people uncomfortable, that went against the status quo. And Spirit is saying, no, that is ending. You're retrieving those parts of yourself. You're integrating yourself. And maybe you felt like holes in your life. You feel like there's maybe a hole in your soul, like there's something missing, like you're missing a spark. You don't seem to feel complete. And it's because these cycles of abuse have convinced you out of yourself. They've led you along this path, right, away from your true self. And I feel like you're going back down the path and you're like, oh, there's that part of myself. Oh, there's that part of yourself. And every time you pass, they're like, come on. And you hold hands and you start walking down the path together. Yeah, the path out of this great prison estate. Yeah. And then you're going to leave. And the minute you leave those gates, you're going to integrate all those pieces of yourself. And you're going to start walking forward a new whole person that you've always been, that you were as a child, that they convinced you to let go of. They convinced you to, sever yourself. I'm getting like Harry Potter and Voldemort with the Horcruxes, like sever your soul. I feel like you have severed your soul and you are reintegrating it. out of choice, out of this ending that's happening, because you're like, no, I want to feel good in myself. Actually, I'm betting on myself. Yeah, sun bear, bear magic, healing, very strong healing energy. You are healing, and it's healing through connection with spirit, but connection with yourself. Rediscovering what you love, rediscovering the parts of yourself that you've always loved and that people made you feel bad about for loving. And you're the sun. That's the thing. You're so freaking bright, and you're gonna shine. You're gonna shine brighter and brighter and brighter the more that you heal. And you are healing. If you're worried that like, oh, I always seem to like, there's always something new to heal. So we're just saying like, yeah, healing happens in cycles. Healing happens in cyclical, right? We move one step forward and then we come around, right? Like, then there's a new obstacle and we have to reaffirm like, no, I've healed that. And then it gets a little easier. And then there's an obstacle. And like, no, I've healed that. And then you go a little further. So Spirit is saying, be patient. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. But that you are healing and these blessings are coming in. You are integrating yourself. Your trauma response is diminishing. You are rewiring your neurons. You're, reprogramming your cells to live in faith, live in trust. And that, you're entering this whole new stage of your life. And like truly, like you are regenerating. You're regenerating on a very physical level. And to just trust the process. So yeah, that's what I have for you today. I hope it resonated. I hope, this was helpful in some way. And it's kind of heavy energy, but also like it's a great message. Your past does not define you. You are choosing. This is the point where you choose to move on, choosing to heal, choosing to decide that my life is for me and I love myself and I love my life. And from this point on, I'm going to make a life that I actually enjoy, where I make every single decision based on my feelings, based on my heart, based on what feels good to me, makes my soul jump for joy, right? That I'm excited. Make decisions where I'm excited to get out of bed every day. Or even if I'm tired, like where I can, I'm also excited to go take a nap. Like, I'm just so proud of you. You're so strong. You're amazing. I love you. See you next time. Bye.